To have you back there. It's the Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Let's go into our topic of discussion for today. We're looking at issues around the capital market. Quoted companies are now releasing their full year result of 2024. We've seen some impressive performance there. We saw the like of GT Bank recording about 107% there, 107.8% growth there in profit before tax there to about 1.266 trillion naira there. That is a very huge number for the Guaranty Trust Bank holding company, talking about GTCO. Of course, we saw the likes of Zenith Bank, Access Bank also doing well. Don't forget Akogu Bank as well, also doing so well there in their annual reports there. Let's put it into perspectives and get some insight into why these reports are coming this time now. I'm being joined now from Lagos by the stockbroker, of course, a financial analyst, and of course, the CEO of Finance with Muktar Mohammed. He joins me virtually from Lagos. Good morning, Muktar.
Good morning, Yusuf, and happy Eid al-Fitr.
Thank you so much, Muktar. Let's look at this result now. Okay, let's even begin from the, of course, the stock market performance before this Salah break. We saw some recovery there before the Salah break. Although before then there was a massive decline in terms of performance of the market. Are we going to expect that trend? That trajectory to continue as the market resumes tomorrow?
Yeah, hopefully, Yusuf, because again, the investors were not able to digest some of those numbers that came in before the market closed down for the Salah holiday, especially that from GTCO. And I also remember that the one from Fidelity also came out after they closed off market that day. And we've had other results like from also from some insurance company like Crusader, like NACO also have come in with their results, fantastic result. Eternal Oil, a lot of results have come in after the close of the market for the Ramadan. So hopefully we will see investors responding to that result in the coming days. But hopefully that should happen from tomorrow, especially from the banking sector, especially GTCO. When that result came, we saw it move to about 70, but it closed at 68 naira. Will we see banking hunters going in there again? And also shouldn't forget that we are waiting for one other bank, Access Bank, to come out with their result. Wema also excite investors after the close of market that day, the 1 naira dividend payout. Fidelity also 1 naira 20 kobo. UACN also didn't so much impress investors, came out with 22 kobo dividend payout. So there's a lot for investors to digest over the festivity period and then take a stand when the market resumes tomorrow.
Indeed, that result is indeed expected to determine the direction the market to go tomorrow, according to Muktar. Muktar, tell us, why is the result coming this late? We are already in the month of April. We are just seeing the result of 2024.
I think it's not coming late. What we normally have is that we see the Nigerian Exchange Group giving them 3 months to submit their final year results, and that 3 months I think expired on the 31st of March. And why you saw some of those numbers coming in, and you also shouldn't forget that in between this month we've had holidays. Also, that also could have affected. That's why the exchange is giving them a little bit of breather. But I think we have release of almost 70% of the results from the market, and hopefully we get the remaining ones this coming week as the market resumes. We are expecting FCMB Group to come up with their result. We are expecting Access Bank to come up with their result in the banking sector. We've seen women have already done that also. So we are expecting First Bank also to come up with their audited result also. Those are part of those in the banking sector that we are expecting them to come up with their result. In the insurance sector, we expect Mansa Insurance to come up with their result. We expect ICO has actually came out with their result 7 kobo. But again, we expect other insurance players to come out with their results in this coming week. So I don't think it came out late. I think that is always the time that we normally see this result. Sometimes we see them in February, sometimes we see them early March. But the exchange after the end of March, if you have not submitted your audited result, you are fined daily. Every day you delay, there's a certain fine you pay the Nigerian exchange. But most companies don't do that. So what they do, maybe if you know your result is not going to be available before that time, you will have to write the exchange and then the investing public to tell them there is a delay. We have not seen that from Access. We had that from Zenith Bank before the release of their result. They said on or before 31st of March, and that was exactly what happened. So I think they are all on time this time around.
Indeed, or on time this time around. Of course, like you did said, for every delay after the month of March, there's going to be some fine that these companies will have to pay to NJS there. Let's look at the GITCO, talking about the Guaranteed Trust Holding Company there. Their results appear so very impressive. The dividends they are paying about 7 naira per share as well. If you look at the percentage gain there, 107.8% growth. That is profit before tax. And of course, if you look at in terms of the value, 1.26 trillion naira there, talking about the profit ending December. How impressive are you seeing this kind of result, and of course what they are paying their shareholders?
You can say that's why every shareholder is smiling at the Guaranteed Trust and Guaranteed Trust Holding Company. They are now in the trailblazer because they are the first banking stock to pay 7 naira. It's 7 naira 3 kobo, and when you add it to an interim dividend of 1 naira, you are seeing about 8 naira 8 naira 3 kobo. It's unprecedented. You're talking about a dividend payout increments of over 100 something percent compared to what they did last year. So definitely that has really excited investors. I'm not so surprised about the result. You shouldn't forget that GTCO also had their right issues. I mean, their public offer, they are planning to do it right, and also planning to do this right through engaging foreign investors or preferred investors. So for you to excite them, you really have to do something significant for them to really look forward to want to invest in your bank, knowing that you still need those capital for recapitalization. So I for one, am not surprised, but I'm not surprised with the level of dividend payout. I was expecting them to do about 4 naira or at worst 5 naira. So I think they have really beat investors' expectation, and you saw the response by investors to that numbers. So what we see going forward now is, if you are hit this height, you cannot go down more than this again, and that also will begin to make other of their contemporaries to also begin to think of how to hit this right, especially Zenith Bank. When you look at the profit after tax of Zenith Bank, it seems higher than what you had in GTCO, but again, GTCO is paying more higher dividend than them. So it's exciting times for investors that have been patient to eat from the fruits of their investment.
Indeed, impressive there. Muktar, while we're praising the GITCO, talking about Guaranteed Trust Holding for this impressive showing this year, we cannot say the same of EcoBank. A lot of investors are complaining that their results, 2024 full year result, is not detailed enough. What can you say about that?
One thing we must know about EcoBank is a transnational bank. And so this is not just like a Nigerian bank itself, it's a transnational bank. So sometimes these results are not what investors see. Remember, they always say they pay in dollars, or they pay in franca, is it CFA or franca, whatever they call it. And so we just need to be excited, one, in that last year, the Nigerian group was not able to contribute more to their bottom line. We see them doing that now, and it looks like they have come out of the wood. But maybe they will be, at the coming days, they will be clear at what investors should expect from them. But I think investors have a right not to be excited by that result, because again, it has been a bank that has not had good corporate actions for a very long time. So I'm not really surprised with how investors feel about ECO. But they should know it's a transnational bank. Yeah, it's not just a Nigerian bank. So there's a lot of integrity involved in it when it comes to payment of dividend or the result itself.
So with the kind of complaint that we're getting from investors or shareholders of that bank, what sort of explanation should we expect from the bank? Because according to the reports, I saw a complaint that, their full year audited report was just 51 pages, where some lesser companies are doing over 160 something pages. I mean, if you look at that, and of course they are saying that it's not even detailed enough. The amount of money they are paying to shareholders is not well stated there clearly for shareholders of that bank to know.
Well, again, sometimes you make it easy for your investors to want to read. How many of us go through the 161 page that some other companies say? For me as an investor, what I'm going to look at is your profit after tax, profit before tax, profit after tax, earning per share. What comes to me as an investor? So if I'm looking at the 51-page document, I'm just looking at what have you been able to make last year compared to this year, how much dividend you're going to pay for me. I think what investors are really after is, are you paying dividend and what is the ratio of the payment of that dividend? And if they don't give that response, investors will react. And you know where they react? They react in the floor of the exchange.
Indeed, reacting on the floor of exchange. Of course, many of them may decided to drop your shares and, of course, go for others. Mr. Muktar, let's also look at this huge profit being declared by banks. A lot of people are wondering that we have a banking system that doesn't really support small business growth and development. So which areas are they making this profit? It's a major concern. I've asked a lot of people these questions, and they said I should actually get the question across to those who trade in some of these equities. How are banks making these huge profits that they keep declaring every year, while our small businesses are dying because of lack of funding?
I think I tend to really disagree. When you look at some of these results, especially this present result, we have FX violation that came in there, but it's not as much as like what we have in the previous results. But you've seen that they're expanding their loan books in terms of lending to the real sector. You can see that in their results. So it depends on what the small business are doing, what kind of investment they have, what are the risks involved in those small business. But we have seen the bank expand their loan books, which is good, which is so. If you look at the profit from GTCO, they are getting most of it from their core area, which is banking. And you also shouldn't forget about this transaction income tax, which is part of their own business, also is helping their bottom line. I understand what a lot of Nigerians are feeling, because when you look at this result from these banks, you look at the result that have been coming in, what it gives to us is an impression that our economy is so stable, so strong. But again, for every economy to see the course of recovery, it normally starts from the banking sector. Once the banking sector begins to recover, it's a pointer that it's just a matter of time. Your economy will be out of the woods. So for me, that is positive. But to say they have not been lending to the real sector, I don't think that is right. Look at their loan book. Majority of them have expanded their loan book. Yusuf, before now, when you see account officer comes to you, they are coming to you for how you want to keep fund for them to pay you the interest on your money. But these days they come and ask you, do you need money to expand your business? We have a lot of fund that we will be able to give to you at a good interest rate. So I for one, don't think that they are not lending to the real sector, but they are looking at their risks. Remember, again, that money does not belong to them, it belongs to their shareholders.
Indeed, talking about the money belongs to their shareholders. You made mention about the loan book, and of course, I can see that the GTCO, their loan book increased by 12.3% to 2.79 trillion naira in 2024. If you compare that to 2023, of course, it's about a huge number there as well. There, while the deposit liability grew by 37.8%, they're talking about GTCO results now. Let's also look at the company or procedures for lending, because there are some. I have a business, for example, and I need a loan. Mr. Muktar, you are a financial analyst, you are very expert in this sector. What are the procedures that one will need to follow to access credit facilities from some of these banks?
Number one, you have to apply for it. You have to be qualified based on the banks. They look at your total turnover. They look at what you've been able to do, what is your profit, and then there's also look at your business plan. Where are you trying to expand? Where are you putting in this money? So they need to look at their risks also involved. But people just think because I have a business, I'm doing very well, the bank should invest in it. The bank sometimes will look at the risky nature of that business, because over time we've had bank invested in some risky ventures and they got their hands burnt. And some of them are still suffering from that up to this moment. And some of them got their license revoked because of risky investment. So they have to look at the level of risk they can take in your business and the potentiality of your business towards them. Unfortunately, the only challenge I have is that because of a hawkish nature of the Central Bank of Nigeria over the years, we don't seem to see that long-term lending like we need to expect from for smaller businesses. Sometimes this lending are just 1 year. Sometimes you get the best, you get like 3 years or 5 years, depending on your relationship with the bank and how much they have seen in terms of turnover. So I think until we begin to reduce that hawking nature, and then we begin to free up funds that the banks should be able to invest. They are tightening up liquidity in the banking sector. And you see that a lot of banks, even now, Citibank of recent, and then Access Bank, are rather going for commercial paper to be able to grow their side of business rather than depending on what they have because of this high stance in terms of liquidity from the central bank. I think I said during your report is 5 years height in terms of tightening of liquidity. So that again is a big challenge for banks to want to lend.
Yeah, it did. Let's look at the insurance sector. I mean, insurance sector was one of the best performing sector in 2024 last year, and of course we saw Suno Assurance there leading the table there as the best performing equities in 2024. But this year, so far, the 2024 result we see custodian insurance. Submitting a very impressive result there. Tell us, what are these sectors? We call them the penny stocks on the exchange. What are they doing now to maintain these investors attention on the exchange at this time?
I used to look at those penny stocks, the ones that are coming up with those impressive results. Are no more penny stocks. You're talking about name insurance paying a dividend of about ₦1. Then you see Crusader Insurance, but again, must also be we have Crusader Pension. Crusader Sterling Pension. It's not just Crusader Insurance. So that's why you are seeing that performance in that space. They're not just involved only in the insurance sector, they are also in the pension as a pension fund administrator. So that also is helping their bottom line. You look at Akogu, the results, it's good, but the dividend payout is very, very poor. So you just hit in there. Why are people really in that space? Is because of the penny nature of it, and the volatility is also involved in that space. But in terms of dividend payout, I think insurance has always been like this. You have little days of payment. Those that are good paying out dividend are still those that are still paying those dividends. You talk about Crusader Insurance, you talk about NEM Insurance, you talk about Mansa Insurance. Those seems to be the ones that are really driven by the good dividend payout. All others, sometimes the dividend is very poor, and most of them gain activities through the volatility in terms of trading, penny stock nature of trading of the stocks. So outside of that, there's not so much to expect in the insurance sector when it comes to year-end and dividend payment.
Muktar, there's also oil and gas sector. Which there we have a lot of big players there, talking about the lack of Seplat, the lack of corn oil, and of course Owando as well. We are yet to see result and of course dividend payment from all these companies. Why the delay? Why is it that they are usually the last to come to the market with their results?
I don't know why, but again, Arada has come out with the results. They are paying 22 naira after paying an interim also. So definitely they are the only one that have come out with their result. Outside of that, like you said, Owando has always been a problem when it comes to release the result that has went due. So we've not seen that. Total, they are one of those that comes out with the result early, but we've not seen that result. Hopefully, we'll see it this week. But like I said, we have to have to go to the exchange for bringing in that chapter of corporate governance. If you don't submit your year-end results by the end of March, you are fine. If you don't submit your first quarter result by the end of May, you're also fine. So I think we should give kudos to the exchange for doing all that. I think those results will keep rolling in. But Seplat also have released its result and also its dividend payment. But again, in combination with the price, that's why you are seeing investors are not really talking about that yet. So, but we are just waiting for O&O, like you said, and also Total to come in. Then Eternal, I think they came out with their results. During MRS also have come out with their results. So the couple of them that have come out with their results. But again, those results are not as impressive to what investors were expecting.
Absolutely, that's a major concern. And of course, Muktar, let's still talking about the oil and gas sector. We're expecting NNPCL to come to the market very soon. They have announced that there's a plan in place for them to, come up with an initial public offer. A lot of Nigerians, and of course, I know yourself as a very strong investor, you are waiting for them as well. There's also this talk about Dangote refinery as well, which a lot of people are expecting them to, come to the exchange as well. How much of expectation you and of course other investors or shareholders in the market, how much of expectation do you have of these companies, some of them very, very big companies coming to the exchange, and what impact would their coming to the exchange will have on the larger capital market?
Yusuf, that's the only side I'm excited about, their impact on the larger capital market, the kind of awareness they will bring to the capital market. It will be the first time in the history of this nation when we have two key players of the economy of Nigeria being listed in the exchange. So then when you see the exchange of a nation should be the barometer of what the economy of the nation is, when we have these two big players, and I'm talking about global players, because the NNPC is solely exporter of crude oil to Nigeria. Out of Nigeria, Dangote is solely exporter of crude oil, Jet One, you can name them. They become a global player coming to the market. It's huge. You open up, it will deepen the Nigeria market. It will make the Nigeria market a side of attraction to investors and the awareness in the capital market. That's the only thing I'm excited about. But when you look at those companies outside of Dangote that we have not seen any results yet since they started their started operation, if you look at NNPC and you want to look at the good results that have been submitted thus far, you can't be as excited like what people think you should be, because that result has far more to be desired. You're having a company making about 3 trillion in terms of profit after tax. At the end of the day, we are looking at the losses because of other issues that are not completely open for investors to really look at. So the good thing is that they are coming to the market, so there will be corporate governance, there will be openness. That's the only way. But to say, oh, they are coming to the market, I should be excited that I'm buying into a company that immediately I will start making profit. I think that is not something that we should be excited about. But in terms as a player in the capital market, I think it's a fantastic publicity for the capital market when you have these two giants, two global oil giants listed in the market.
Indeed, and of course, a lot of Nigerians, we've been expecting them to come in this quarter, the last quarter, which ended yesterday. And of course, the NNPC, towards the end of the quarter, did come out with the plan that they are working on the IPO there on the exchange. Of course, we are now in the second quarter of the year. How quickly do you expect them to come to the market?
I wish I know, but again, there's a lot of processes. Even if SEC have shortened some of those processes. For the NNPC, you have to submit about a 5 years audited report. You and I know what the challenge is NNPC when it comes to audited report. Dangote, most of if they have to submit 5 years audited report, they are going to submit 4 years of virtually just in terms of trying to do their construction and all that. Maybe only 1 year will take a full audited report. So there's a lot of processes to go through before listed in the market. But I'm optimistic that before the end of the second quarter, we might just have them listed. Remember, for the NNPC, the shareholding structure is between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. So will they be relinquishing all their shares? Those are the questions that we'll need to ask in the coming days. Will they be relinquishing all their shares to investment public, or government still wants to have a controlling stake in NNPC? Those are part of the things that will determine when we get NNPC listed in the market.
Indeed, yeah. Still a lot of questions there that also need to be asked, whether they're coming with a full one. That is a very good observation you did pointed out, Mr. Muktar. Let's look at the participation of foreign investors now in our market. There seems to be a decline of about 26.6% in the month of February. Why are foreign investors leaving our market? I mean, what is the issue with the economy that is affecting their interest in the Nigerian capital market?
So I'm excited when I see foreign investors leave the market and they are not causing the kind of distortions that we normally would have seen when they are leaving. And so what it means is that there's a two-way system, which is good, that they are leaving and they are able to leave. That's what make more investors want to come when you have a two-way exchange system. Two, they are leaving and they are selling those stocks to Nigerians, which for me is great, because again, the stock market is the only market where you can have a distribution of the national treasury, national wealth to different people. So when they are leaving their trade, they are dropping those shares and they are finding their ways into the hands of Nigeria. No stock market leaves no stock market leaves its control to foreigners. So I think for me it's a good thing, and again, but it has its own effect in terms of price volatility, especially when they are going out. And we are seeing locals playing the market, mostly retail investors rather than institutional investors. So by the time we begin to move from retail investors to institutional investors, especially like I said, with what we think will happen in the second quarter of the year, whether Dangote or NNPC, that will create an awareness for the market, then you begin to see institutional investors want to take position in the market. Then you begin to see price movement and price stability in the long term. So that's where we are waiting for to be. But for me, I think I'm excited when I see foreign investors leaving the market and then local investors taking ownership of. When you believe in your economy, then you have a lot of people wanting to come into your economy. Just like what we are experiencing in the oil and gas sector, where we are seeing local players buying up foreign assets and taking ownership of that. So when we see that in the foreign market, once you as an indigenous, the citizens take ownership of your economy, it's very, very good, rather than letting foreigners be the sole driver of your economy.
Indeed, a very good one there. Muktar, there was a time in this country where we had foreign investors were the key players in our market, many of them controlling over 60% of the total market share at a point in time. But as of today, it does seem that the local investors, just like you did mention, have taken over the market. What do you think is the reason that actually fuel that interest of the local investors, who are now key players in the market, that whenever the foreign investors even withdraw their investment, we don't seem to have the need to feel the impact?
I think education. I think a lot of enlightenment, and also you also have to give with the kind of earnings and also the kind of price that we're seeing in the market. The movement in terms of price is getting a lot of people excited and want to come, and that actually might be attributed to the policy of President Bola Tinubu. Since he came in, I think he has made the market more attractive, especially with the right pricing or the floating of the naira, whatever you want to say. And so that has made a lot of Nigerians begin to look at where to earn good returns in terms of capital appreciation and dividend payouts, and the market was available for them. I think for me, that was largely what was responsible. The kind of rate you used to see in the fixed income space are no more there. So investors started looking at the capital market, especially the equity space of it. And that has been responsible for what you have. You continue education and the need to have higher profit of the investment.
Indeed, Oga Muktar, as we wrap up now, you made mention about fixed income market. I was coming there, but it all seems that market is not is so inactive in the last 1 or 2 years. What is happening to the fixed income market on the exchange?
I think what's happening there, it has to do with the higher return you get in terms of investing in the equity market. And then again, it has to do with the low yield that you get in the fixed income space compared to what it used to be before because of the hawkish nature of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So I think that's what has been responsible for the kind of low rate that you have seen in the fixed income space. And then also the CBN is also planning to reduce liquidity in the system. That have not helped that space too. So for me, that's what has been responsible. So investors are looking for new heavens, and they are seeing those new heavens in the equity market.
In the equities market there. Indeed, Muktar Mohammed, that's a very interesting analysis and, of course, very enlightening submission that you have given us this morning. I must thank you for your time. Muktar Mohammed is a stockbroker, financial analyst, and, of course, the CEO of Finance with Muktar. He joins us, speaking to us all the way from Lagos there. I must thank you for your time and contributions on Business Daily today.
Thank you for having me, Yusuf. Baraka Desala once again.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And with that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akogu.